You're wearing something gold right now. Maybe you don't even realize it. A ring, a chain, a tiny clasp on a watch you barely look at anymore. Or maybe it's just the color. A fleck of gold on your phone case, a gold-toned frame around a picture on your wall. It's there. Somewhere in your life, right now, gold exists as a quiet, decorative nothing, a thing so ordinary you'd have to actively search your home to find every piece of it. Every single atom of gold on this planet was forged inside a collapsing star. A neutron star merger, specifically, an event so violent it briefly outshines an entire galaxy. That gold then drifted through space for billions of years, got swept up in the formation of our solar system, sank deep into Earth's molten core, and only resurfaced through volcanic eruptions and tectonic grinding over hundreds of millions of years. It arrived at the surface as scattered flecks in riverbeds and exposed rock faces, sitting there, gleaming in the sun, waiting. And one day, maybe 40,000 years ago, maybe earlier, a human being noticed it. In a world where everything was about survival, where every ounce of attention went to food, shelter, predators, weather, how did ancient humans discover a soft metal that couldn't cut, couldn't hold an edge, couldn't do anything useful at all? And why, once they found it, did they immediately treat it like it mattered? Nobody went looking for it. Gold found us. Gold is almost 20 times denser than water. 19.3 grams per cubic centimeter to be exact. So when a river erodes through gold-bearing rock over thousands of years, those gold particles don't wash downstream like sand or silt. They drop. They settle into crevices and cracks in the riverbed. They accumulate in bends where the current slows. They sit in shallow water, catching sunlight, doing something that virtually no other natural material in a Stone Age landscape can do. They shine without being wet, and they stay shiny forever. Your Paleolithic ancestor is kneeling at a stream, drinking water or washing a kiln, and there's a yellow gleam between the rocks that shouldn't be there. It's not a flower. It's not an insect. It doesn't rot, doesn't dull, doesn't change. They pick it up and it's heavy, shockingly heavy for its size, heavier than any stone they've ever held. And it's soft. They can press their thumbnail into it. They can bend it. In a world made entirely of things that decay, corrode, shatter, and rot. This one thing doesn't. And that's the hook that caught the entire human species. Gold, chemically, is one of the least reactive elements in existence. It doesn't oxidize, meaning it doesn't rust, tarnish, or corrode when exposed to air or water. Iron rusts. Copper turns green. Silver blackens. But gold just sits there. Archaeologists at the Varna Necropolis in Bulgaria, a site dating to around 4,600 BC, pulled gold artifacts from graves that had been buried for over 6,000 years, and those objects were still gleaming. No cleaning required. No restoration. The gold looked new. Your ancestors didn't have the language for chemistry, but they could observe one overwhelming fact. This substance defied time itself. Everything else in their world was temporary. Meat spoiled, wood rotted, bone cracked, skin wrinkled, people died. Gold didn't die. It wasn't just found in one place. Gold exists in trace amounts on every continent. Small amounts of natural gold have been found in Spanish caves used during the late Paleolithic period, around 40,000 BC. That means humans were picking up and keeping gold nuggets tens of thousands of years before agriculture, before pottery, before any concept of wealth or trade even existed. They kept it because it fascinated them. There was no economy to give it value. There was no market. There was only a primate brain encountering something it couldn't categorize. Something beautiful and eternal in a world defined by neither of those things. For roughly 35,000 years, from those first Paleolithic encounters to about 5,000 BC, humans did almost nothing with gold except collect it. Then, around 4,600 BC, in what is now Bulgaria, something changed. At the Varna Necropolis, archaeologists led by Ivan Ivanov, beginning in 1972, unearthed 294 graves containing approximately 3,000 gold artifacts weighing a combined 6 kilograms. One single grave, grave 43, contained more worked gold than had been found in the entire rest of the world from that same era, combined. And that person wasn't a king. Current analysis suggests he was a metalsmith, the first people to figure out that gold could be melted at 1064 degrees Celsius, achievable in a charcoal-fueled furnace with forced air, and poured into shapes, hammered into sheets thinner than paper, drawn into wire. Those people became powerful not because they owned gold, but because they could transform it. Gold didn't create hierarchies because of scarcity. It created hierarchies because of craft. The earliest gold miners, the ones who transitioned from simply picking up alluvial nuggets to actively digging gold from the earth, appear at a site called Sakdrisi in the Republic of Georgia, dating to approximately 3400 BC. They were using stone hammers and fire setting, heating rock faces with flames, and then throwing cold water on them to fracture the stone along gold-bearing quartz veins. 5,400 years ago, people were engineering controlled thermal shock to extract a metal that was still functionally useless for anything practical. They couldn't make weapons from it. Too soft. Couldn't make tools. Couldn't make anything that required hardness or an edge. And yet they were crawling into dark tunnels, breaking rock with fire and stone, risking collapse and suffocation. For a yellow metal that did nothing but gleam, gold's value was never primarily economic. It was spiritual, psychological, the effort people were willing to expend to obtain it, effort that, in pure survival terms, was utterly irrational. They were meaning-making creatures. They were chasing beauty and permanence and symbol, not calories. Gold didn't become valuable because it was useful. It became valuable because it was eternal in a world where nothing else was. And then Egypt happened. By around 4000 BC, gold mining was operating at a proto-industrial scale along the Nile and into Nubia. The Egyptians developed systematic mining techniques, crushing gold-bearing quartz with stone pestles, washing the crushed material in shallow channels to separate heavy gold particles from lighter rock dust, then melting the collected gold in clay crucibles using blowpipes to raise furnace temperatures. Implemented over 100 gold-working locations in the eastern desert alone. This wasn't artisanal collection anymore. This was organized extraction. Hundreds of workers, supply chains for food and water in brutal desert conditions, military protection for transport routes. And what did they use all that gold for? Not tools, not weapons, not infrastructure. They covered their dead with it. They wrapped their gods in it. They plated the tips of obelisks so they'd catch the first and last light of the sun each day. They used gold for the one purpose that matched its only real property. It doesn't change. It mirrors eternity. So they gave it to the things they wanted to last forever. Their religion, their pharaohs, their dead. The entire Egyptian gold economy, tens of thousands of laborers, centuries of mining, incomprehensible engineering, all in service of one idea: that something in human existence should be permanent. You didn't evolve to care about gold. No other primate collects shiny metals, no survival pressure selected for gold hoarding, and yet the moment humans encountered this substance, on every continent, in every culture, separated by oceans and millennia, they all reacted the same way. They picked it up. They kept it. They eventually killed for it, enslaved for it, built empires around it, sailed across unknown oceans hoping to find it. That response wasn't taught. It wasn't cultural. It emerged independently, again and again, everywhere humans existed. Which means something in the architecture of your brain, something about the way you process color, weight, permanence, and rarity was already wired to be captivated by this specific combination of properties before you ever knew gold existed. Gold didn't become sacred because priests declared it so. Your neurology made it sacred the moment your eyes registered that color and your hand registered that weight. A river tumbled fragments of collapsed star through ordinary stone, and gravity pulled them to the bottom because they were heavier than everything else around them. Sunlight struck those fragments and bounced back unchanged. No oxidation, no tarnish, no film. A pair of primate eyes noticed. A primate hand reached in and felt something impossibly heavy and impossibly soft. A primate brain, your brain essentially, running the same hardware, encountered an object that broke every pattern it knew. Things decay. This didn't. Things dull. This didn't. Things break. This bent. And from that single moment of confused fascination, Kneeling in shallow water, turning a nugget in the light, came everything. The Varna Necropolis and its golden burials, Sakdrisi and its desperate tunnels, Egypt and its gilded eternities. Every treasury, every currency, every wedding ring on every hand in every country on this planet. All of it traces back to one primate brain encountering one impossible object and deciding, without logic, without utility, without any survival reason at all. This matters. You're still wearing the evidence of that decision right now. That ring, that chain, that tiny clasp. It connects you in an unbroken line to someone kneeling in a riverbed tens of thousands of years ago, turning a yellow stone in the light, feeling the same quiet pull you feel when gold catches your eye in a shop window and you slow down, just slightly, without knowing why. You slow down because they did, and nothing has changed since.